I'll turn off my phone.
Hey, Bon.
Well, hello and happy Wednesday to everyone joining us on Heads Together. Really excited to be here today. I'm so looking forward to this today. Welcome, Jen Wilner.
Hey, Bon.
And Jen and I realized that we actually have an anniversary this month. It was a couple of weeks ago, because forever it seems like we've been saying that we've been working together for 7 years. And it occurred to me that I think it might be more than that. And in fact, we're up to 8. So high five. Yay! It doesn't seem like 8 years ago. I put a small little ad in the local paper in Edison, New Jersey, and nobody was answering until you did.
Lucky me.
So happy you still feel that way 8 years in. I mean, that's saying something. Well, hey, Denise Buckelman, welcome, welcome. Happy to see you today. Oh, and Janelle is here. Oh, the gang's all here. Come on in. Welcome to Wednesday, October 21st, as we head into this final quarter of the year, which blows my mind. I can't believe how fast the year has gone and what a crazy one it's been. Sheba Abraham, haven't seen you forever. Hi, Benita. Hi, Kayleen. Oh, you're coming in from all over the United States and the world.
The world, yeah.
Say where you're coming from today. Hey, Sandy Knott. Welcome. Emer's coming in from Ireland. Yay. Oh my goodness. Welcome, welcome. Happy Wednesday. I'm Bonnie Low-Kramen. This is Heads Together. We're streaming live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And it is an opportunity for us to talk about the burning issues that are happening in the workplace today. I'm back here in my home office in Ponte Vedra, Florida, after 5 wonderful days away. Robert and I ran away to the Panhandle of Florida, which I highly recommend. Jen, where are you today?
I'm joining live from my home office in Edison, New Jersey.
And in your newly quasi-renovated house, right?
Yeah, my amazing husband picked up some lighting for me, so now I have no excuse but to work on these kinds of events and look good.
I heard a great term last week. It's that all of us since March, we've all been on a Zoom honeymoon. Like the honeymoon's over. We've all been cutting each other a break, as we got up to speed on Zoom and Teams. And now the honeymoon is over. What do you think? The perfect segue for our topic today. Hey, Stephanie and Cheryl and Jacqueline and Sonia and Carrie Ann, welcome, welcome. Please put your questions and comments in the chat box. Jen and I, we published a blog yesterday. And I know it's kind of dangerous, me venturing into technology land. Those of you who know me know that I depend heavily on Jen. Thank God for you, Jen. And Robert Sanders, my partner, who's fabulous. And of course, the amazing Vicki Sokol-Evans. So I have tech support all around me. But it came to my attention that October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Now, I don't know if any of you knew that. Tell me. Oh my gosh, I just love looking at the chat. Cheryl's saying, bonjour. We've got Norway represented in Kentucky and Nashville. Sandy wants to know, what kind of lighting did you buy?
We bought desktop lighting on Amazon. I think it was Prime Day kind of thing for altogether $43.
Not bad. And your lighting it really does look better.
Yeah,
it does.
I feel better now.
Oh, that's good. And a fresh new haircut too. So that's really great too. So it's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And it feels like every day in the news, there's another story about hacking and breaches. I started thinking about how so many assistants are working from home. We're all working from home. And where are the vulnerabilities? Where are we in danger? And we probably don't even know that there's danger. So, one of the things we were discussing is, I wonder if any of you here today have had the experience where, you have your cell phone near you, and maybe you have a digital assistant in the room, whether it's a Google Home or an Alexa or, the Amazon Echo, whichever one you choose. This is not a commercial for those, but you get the idea. And you're discussing, well, Jen, you had an example of what were you talking?
Oh, yes. We were discussing, so we have that little, I'm not going to say what it is, but we have that little round circle one. And Jen, we really just use it for music, but we learned that we were out, my husband and I were out a few years ago and talking about selling baby bedding. Now, granted, our daughter's now 18 years old.
It was a few years ago.
So we were talking about selling it, and it wasn't the home device, but the smartphones that picked up on the conversation.
Right.
Because as soon as right after that conversation happened, my next search on the web, ads popped up like crazy for baby. And I'm like, okay, Google people, I don't have a baby anymore, so something knows.
They're totally listening. These devices are totally listening. I was searching for shoes, and then the next thing I know, I go hours later, go on the internet, and there are these ads for the exact brand shoes that I was looking at. It's pretty crazy. There's a Netflix documentary right now that's getting great reviews called The Social Dilemma. Mm-hmm. And it is about breaches in privacy and how all of our lives are being impacted by social media, and how, our buying is being manipulated some. For years, those of us who, studied a little bit of marketing or public relations knows that, advertising is meant to push us in one direction or another. But wow, in 2020, it's at a whole other level that we need to be concerned about. So I went ahead and I wrote an article about cybersecurity and hacking and all the vocabulary that is kind of new-ish to me, maybe not to all of you, but I certainly, Becca and Sandy and Brigitte, please comment on this. Terms like phishing emails, spoofing. The one I learned the other day was whaling. As in the animal, whaling, WHALING. And whaling is the phenomenon when, and we certainly have had assistants in Be the Ultimate Assistant who have shared that this has happened, where it looks like you get an email from your executive instructing you to wire $10,000 right away to some bank. And we've had assistants say, yeah, I went ahead and did it. It looked so real. And there's virtually no way to get that money back. So we know that our computers are storing cookies, and
not the good ones.
Please talk to us. We really would love for you to share your cautionary tips and tales about how to keep the data safe. The phishing and spoofing emails are very much about the idea that they look real. They look like it's from Amazon or your bank. I happen to be somebody who had my email list hacked. And so emails went out that looked like they were from Bonnie Low-Kramen, but they were not. So this article that I wrote, that I posted on LinkedIn, has everything to do with what do we do to keep the data safe, given that you all have your laptops, your work laptops at home. How do you make sure that your devices are not listening to confidential meetings and then inadvertently sending this, very sensitive information to people who shouldn't have it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Erin is just saying that she caught one this morning. Phishing email.
An employee came to my office saying my exec needed to see her right away. I knew the language and found it was a malware email. Oh yeah, malware and ransomware. Thanks, Erin. Thanks for bringing that up. Isn't that interesting that that's something that a computer AI will never be able to do, which is, Erin, you knew the tone, the kind of wording that your executive uses. I certainly knew that about Olympia. I knew when something was authentically hers and when it wasn't. No AI device will ever be able to do that. Ransomware and malware. I tell a story in the article about one of my colleagues has a business and a pretty sizable, amount of folders and data on the server in the cloud. He received an email one day with like a very ominous email saying, "We're holding your data ransom. You need to pay us $400. Like, it's never it's not going to be like $5,000 or $20,000, $400. And you have to pay it by Bitcoin by, like 6 hours from now or 8 hours from now." And
Wow.
he ended up doing it. He had to do it. And by Bitcoin. So it's untraceable. I mean, we really have to get onto this. Do we have anything else? Because there's so much to say about this subject.
Yeah. Sandy said her boss got one from Peloton.
And I knew he just bought one. So
big and it was bogus.
Wow. But they spelled it right. I was thinking you were going to say there was a spelling error. And then Megan has something, Jen.
I refuse to open links. Yeah, this is great advice. I refuse to open links if I'm not familiar with the sender. I'll pick up the phone and call if I get an invoice or a link I'm not expecting.
This is great advice. Thank you, Megan. Please share any of these kinds of things because, at our classes at Be the Ultimate Assistant, and I know many of you have been in on that, I will ask you the question, how many of you have an IT department that's great policies in place? And a lot of assistants will raise their hand, but then I'll ask a follow-up question, which is, how many of you are informed, very well informed about those policies? Like, it's one thing to have the policies and the procedures, and it's a whole other thing to communicate it with your team, with the administrative team. And now that everybody's working at home, it seems to me that the data is particularly vulnerable. I don't know if you agree with that or not. Go ahead, Jen. We've got lots of comments here.
Yes, Sandy, no spelling error. But I highlighted the website and there was no HTTPS.
Okay. I mean, you have to be a detective. Sandy, did IT teach you that? Or is that something you just picked up? Just help us here. How is this stuff getting communicated to the team, to the administrative team?
Here's a good one from Carrie Ann. To check if your email has been compromised is, have I been PWNE pawned? I'm wondering if the letter A is supposed to be in there.
Carrie Ann, let us know. I've heard of this before, but thank you for the reminder. Can you just clarify if that's really the site? Have I been pawned? We're lucky.
Yeah.
You had pawns over there?
And Yvonne, yep, I think Vicki told us to hover over the link or email and see where the email is coming from and where it's going.
Right. And hey, Robert, I think Robert Sanders is listening. If he's got any cool tips, he can put them in the chat. Yeah. It's so fun to do this work from down the hall, right? Robert. Yvonne shares it. She's got a wonderful IT department. People dedicated to cybersecurity. Thank goodness, because there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot of money and accounts, and the data shows that it's the executive assistants that are some of the weakest links in an organization, mainly because you hold so much information, coupled with the fact that many assistants are not fully informed on what these ways to identify the phishing and the spoofing and the whaling, it's
Right. Ada has something cool. She said they added a phishing button to our Outlook ribbon. So we can send emails that we suspect are phishing emails and they will research for us.
Fantastic. We have to tell each other.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder about, because we're not working in an office right now, IT can't come over to your desk if you have an issue. So you have to call somebody, but the problem's right here.
Robert's saying, look for the lock icon in your URL address in your browser.
To make sure that it's secure.
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
And Monique is saying that Swan is video game speak for owned. Have I been owned? That's the correct. Clearly, I'm not a gamer. Oh my goodness, there's so much to watch out for. I'm just looking.
So much.
We're hearing, the words like bots and short for robots.
And there's black hats and there's white hats, and I think I heard more from TV shows about this stuff.
Oh, Yvonne said you've had years of files disappear from a hack, and there's no getting them back. Vicky and Robert often say, the cloud is very secure, and the biggest companies out there are trusting the cloud. So how then can we secure this? My colleague, the one who had to pay the $400 by Bitcoin, he ended up getting a dedicated server. So it was encrypted and it was only his. Now that's a pretty significant investment of money to do that. But if this is very critical information, it's worth it to invest that kind of money. I mean, you want to be able to sleep at night. You want to be able to take your laptop places if you like. The conventional wisdom is about at airports and at coffee shops to not use the free Wi-Fi because it's so easy for the hackers to get in. And so there's something called a VPN, a virtual, Robert, you'll have to help me here.
Virtual private network.
A virtual private network. And we use NordVPN, and that encrypts it. So, and it's pretty easy, to use, but IT can absolutely help you. What else do we have?
So Ada, I like this. Their IT department says bogus emails, and if we click on them, you're automatically signed up for a training class.
Good. Yes. Okay. Lots more here.
Okay. What is Robert? Password keepers with password generators are best practice. Just don't forget the master password. And
you're out of luck. Yeah.
Back up. 8 years of very important stuff.
I know. It's some assistants shudder when we show them our hard copy password books, but not everybody is high tech, and sometimes it's faster to find it in a book than it is on Dashlane or OnePass. Right. We talk about password keepers, but the security folks like Robert says that we should change our passwords every 90 days. That will significantly cut down on the hacking. And also two-factor authentication, which is a pain because it slows you down to have to, try to get onto a website and then you have to check your phone to get the code. I mean, really, we're doing fingerprint recognition and eyeball recognition. And I see assistants, just roll their eyes because they don't have their executives' eyeballs and they don't have their executives' fingerprints. So
or their face, they have that face one also.
It's just nuts. All right. What is
Tanya has a good one, but here's something also. I read this. I'm glad that Cheryl mentioned this. This is huge.
Oh my gosh, don't use outlets either.
Outlets either. Charge your phone at the airport, because there's been scenarios where the hackers connect in the outlets and the blah blah blah, all that stuff.
I didn't know, and Robert outed me. I did forget my password book on vacation, but it didn't cause me any problem. So
you could have just called me.
All right. So one of the things I teach should be the ultimate assistant, and we'll hear from Tanya, Jen, after. I just want to share this, that please, please, please do not be the only person who has the password to things. I mean, Jen's joking. She does have the passwords to most things in my life, as does Robert. We cannot cause a single point of failure at our companies if we're the only ones, if you're the only one that has a key password to a major folder, file, whatever. We need to be able to trust somebody. And my goodness, the world around us, life is happening super duper fast, and we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Yeah.
We don't know if you're going to have to be plucked out suddenly for any reason.
Right.
What do we have?
Computer failure. Yeah. So Tanya said, received one from the post office with a link saying I received a package and could not get a hold of me. Without thinking, I opened it. This compromised the whole company server. Oh my goodness. As a result, my mistake, our IT company now continually runs awareness campaigns and testing with the staff, put lots of blocks on certain pages. Also now, if you have a link, open a link, a pop-up screen will appear asking you to, if you think the link is safe or not. Not only does this test your knowledge and, okay, we lost the rest of it, but yeah.
Yeah. So what happened in the aftermath of my email list getting hacked, and many of the people on my email list were with major companies. Maybe some of you received that hacked email, the one that looked like it was from me, but it was either from Chase or Amazon. They sent out two. What ended up happening is that those companies, when things got straightened out and I continued to send emails out, those companies' firewalls, have been strengthened, just as Tanya was just saying, that companies have responded to these breaches by strengthening the firewalls. So if sometimes your email isn't getting through to the recipient, it's not necessarily that you've been hacked, but it could be that somehow they've set up a rule or set up a system on the back end that is preventing your email from getting through. So, as this group well knows, if you're not getting success one way, we have to try another way, try another email address, or pick up the phone, for goodness sakes, right?
Exactly. Yeah, pick up the phone.
So what else? There's so much here to prevent hacks and breaches in the information that you're holding. We welcome any other comments. Megan saying that she hates two-factor authentication. I know. And you know what's wild is, where is this all headed? Like, how much more complicated is it going to get in this next couple of years? Hoofy has.
Hoofy said, I just received today an email from my company's portal saying that I have an e-fax, and to click on the attached view, of course, I knew this was a phishing email. My IT department was notified, and any such emails that come across anyone's email in our office will be blocked.
My company's portal. Yeah. I mean, they look real. The hackers, I mean, don't you wonder, like, who's sitting around the table figuring this out? Like, we're gonna create this. Like, robots certainly are not creating those emails to you, are they?
No. Hi, Mary.
Hey, Mary. Alois from Houston. Mary, we're talking about hacking and cybersecurity, and our assistants getting adequately trained and updated on these procedures that we need to follow in order to keep our data safe. That's the subject. So, Annie, we welcome any last comments. What's Megan sharing?
My poor exec, I have to stalk him. When either of us changes our location/IP address, he has to send me his code, and it's a race against time, and it's always nuts. We feel your pain, Megan.
We totally feel your pain. I mean, we all know what that feels like. Yeah, I've got somebody helping me with some aspect of the website right now. And, he had to call me super late at night. He's like, I need that code, quick, look at your phone. And it's like the clock's ticking. Like, oh, it expired. Linda is saying what, Jen?
When there's two-factor authentication for my boss, we coordinate time to open the web page, and he sends me the code from his text message.
Yeah. I mean, we have to, it feels like we get up to speed on a system and then it slows us down again. But it's really critical to make sure that you're not the only one with any password, anything, frankly, given what's going on. And we don't have an end in sight. And Megan's saying, yeah, and the ID department has no solution for it. Right. That's exactly right. So what we know is that technology is not 100%. And that's because it's created by humans. Vicki and Robert pointed that out to me several years ago. I'm like, why do computers crash? Why do they just stop working? And they explained to me it's because these systems are all created by human beings, not bots. And so, on this call today, we've clearly outlined how AI cannot possibly replace you and figure out these nuances. So if in fact you're sitting there thinking, wow, my IT department, we need to coordinate more with our IT department, then I urge you to contact them tomorrow, maybe even today. What is Robert saying?
These measures are inconvenient, but better than the pain of getting hacked.
That is so true. Because if you've been through the pain of getting hacked or having simply a computer crash where, you're helpless, it feels helpless. And so it's about getting, it used to be all we were talking about, we're backing up your computer. It's so much more than that now. And thankfully with the cloud, I can't believe, I feel like I finally get a handle on this stuff and then my learning curve goes wild again.
Of course.
As we continue. But so as we head towards the end of today's session on Heads Together, a couple of announcements. I've decided that because there are so many burning issues that are still very much in play, my gosh, there still are way more questions than answers in the world. I'm going to do an event on Saturday, December 5th. It's a virtual event. Going to do it from 10 to 12 Eastern time. It will go on sale tomorrow. We're calling it Aha Moments with Bonnie Low-Kramen. Aha Moments. Ask her anything. It's going to be no holds barred. And we're going to do it as a Zoom meeting. So there will be talking. It won't just be the chat. And yes, Megan, I agree with you that thank goodness we have each other. That's been so evident from the time Jen and I started Heads Together. It's been so fun doing this with you, Jen. And by the way, for those of you who didn't hear, we're celebrating 8 years together this month. So that's cool, Jen. That's really cool. And I'm so happy to be on this journey with you. And I know you'll be with us on Saturday, December 5th.
I will.
As we gather assistance from all over the world. It's going to be a fast 2 hours, and we're going to deal with as many issues as we possibly can in real time. So there will be an announcement tomorrow on social media. We're not quite ready to, launch that link yet. There's still some folks working behind the scenes. And Be the Ultimate Assistant on Demand is on sale, and we have a promo code for you. Jen, if you can put that up, BTUAOT 250 to save $250 off BD Ultimate Assistant on demand. Thanks, Megan, for happy 8 years. We just we know that we need each other. As Olympia would say, for 25 years, she would say, you know, Bonnie, you don't have to be an expert in everything, but you do need to know who the experts are to go to get the answers we need fast. And you know what? That's all of you on this call today. It's all of you. You are those experts. You're the subject matter experts, the SMEs, subject matter expertise. So any last thoughts, Jen?
Any last thoughts? I think we covered a lot today.
Right. Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Let us be aware of cybersecurity and to protect our companies.
Right.
So again, if you believe that you need to know more about phishing and spoofing and whaling and cookies and the rest of those words in the new vocabulary, ransomware and malware, please let us talk with each other and let us talk with IT. So in order to ramp up, get up to speed and ready for 2021, because so many of you have reported that we're not going back into our offices until well into 2021. So let us do what we need to do in our homes as we work at home. Jen, you discovered the on-off button on your little device.
Oh yes, that little round device that came from that A company. Yes.
Those listening devices actually have an on-off button. They're usually very discreet. And Emer, yes. Oh, Emer, thank you. What's that, Jen?
And so do these. You have to pay attention to where they are on these little things.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Emer, thank you for joining us from Ireland, and those of you from Boston and all. Oh my gosh, you've come from all over the world, and we deeply, deeply appreciate it. Stay tuned for news about Saturday, December 5th from 10 to 12 Eastern Time. And for now, we're set to be here next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern. And let us know in the meantime how you're doing with cybersecurity, because it's actually, you know, a very hot button subject for this time that we're in right now. So be safe, wear your mask, and please make a plan to vote. Thank you. Thanks, Jen.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.
See you next week.